Hey guys, Will Chandler here. It's been a few minutes since I made a video. It's probably been about a month, I guess. I got back from my trip, and so obviously during the trip was real busy, and then had a bunch of stuff happen. Mostly good stuff, but also I was with my eyes and whatnot. I was pretty worn out from all the activity, and plus I've been procrastinating uh, on making another video. So my takeaway, and I also wanted to mull over quite a bit the trip I took and everything that happened, and try to look at it from multiple angles and perspectives. Um, that it started out great. Just driving up there, I stopped on the way up at a veterans organization that helped me out a lot last summer, and it's continued to help me out. And I'm hoping, they've invited me up to continue working with them, and hopefully, and also to help out um, other people like me. And so it was cool to be able to stop by there. I brought them a bunch of woodworking. I make a bunch of, I brought a bunch of like puzzles and cutouts that I've made out of, with woodworking, and donated that stuff to them. It was probably, I mean, it was probably a couple weeks worth of work that I brought up there to them. And it was really awesome. And one of the guys there, he said to me, "Welcome home," which was really cool because I had never, for many years, I hadn't really come home from the military or from Iraq. I was still stuck in a loop, and I couldn't figure my way out of it. And slowly over time, I started to, and they're the guys that really helped me get past everything and to help heal and to figure out how to be productive and just have some love and just to help other people, which is where my heart was. I couldn't figure out the how of it for so long. And again, that group is called Boulder Crest. So if there's any other veterans watching this, if you need some help, man, I'm telling you, check out Boulder Crest. They have a center here in Northern Virginia, and they also have a center out in, I think, Arizona. And they're probably one of the only veterans organizations that I've seen that actually help long term, that actually make a real difference. It's not like a catch and release program where you go feel good for a few days and then you're on your own again. It's not geared for that. It's because that doesn't help anyone long term. All it does is make someone else feel like they've done something when in reality they haven't. And so this place, it's all geared towards combat vets. I think all the guys I've met there are all combat veterans, and it's I think you'd be hard pressed to get in if you weren't a combat veteran, but I could be wrong. I mean, it would be case by case basis, but they also help out first responders, I think, that have been through the ringer. Anyway, so I stopped there for a couple hours on my way up to see my older sister, and that was a great start to the trip. And anyway, so then I went on to see my older sister and my nieces. Had a great visit with them. She's doing great. I was able to spend some time with my nieces. As if you've watched my videos, you'll know that for many years I was pretty laid up with my injuries and whatnot, and I'm more functional now. I have to be extremely careful, but I'm able to actually function a little bit now, whereas for many years I couldn't, and that was in large part due to all the drugs that the military had gotten me on. And anyway, so I mean, it was really cool to be able to spend some more time with my nieces and really get to know them. I think they're like 17 and 15 or 16. Um, yeah, I brought them out to their. Now I didn't give them the alcohol, but brought them out. My sister was working one night. I brought them out to their first Irish pub, and of course, it was cool just to be able to do some stuff with them. And I also went to the corner bar with my older niece, and not really intending to go to a corner bar. I just wanted some food one afternoon, and she's like, "Yeah, let's just go to the corner." And of course, we walk in and it's a bar, right? But it's not like they serve food and everything. It wasn't just like a drinking hole. So it was cool just to hang out and get to know my nieces more, and them me. It was awesome to be able to be with my sister, and like I've said to her a number of times over the past year or so, it is so nice to have my sister back, and to begin to be having a real relationship with her again. Of course, that also means I've got to be careful what I say, what I do or don't say. Um, but she's pretty reasonable with it, as like, anyway. So did that. Also, after spending a day or two there, was able to go up and see my younger sister and my younger niece that live a few hours away. And of course, my mother, my incubator, lives in that town, and she's diehard Jehovah's Witness, fully indoctrinated. There was definitely some drama. Like, she has the martyr syndrome going on. The whole point of me going up there was to meet my younger sister's future husband's family, because in August I'll be going up there to walk her down the aisle. And so the whole point of me going up there was to see my sister, my niece, and then to get to know my future in-laws, right? And it's just incidental that my incubator lives in the same town. And don't get me wrong, I say incubator, but I mean, she's my mother and I love her, and that's not gonna change. There's in the Greek would be like a storge love, a familial love there, but it's not relationship based love. And it also, she's a big cause of a lot of the stuff that happened to me when I was younger. And I would describe her, I think I might have said this before, but I would mostly describe her to this day, to this very day, as long as I can remember, my first memories of her to this day, I would say that she was obliviously absent. Like I've spoken about, being left at school for hours and the janitors not going home until they saw my mother coming to pick me up, my incubator coming to pick me up, because they were worried that I was going to get forgotten overnight. And well, what happened? She was so busy knocking on doors that she kept regularly forgetting to pick up her son from school. And so I had school janitors showing me more love than my own mother did as a child, and that obviously stuck with me. It's one of the profound memories I have as a child, and seeing as far as what a positive adult role model is. And sad to say, I saw more of that from my school janitors in elementary school than I did at home. And so I mean her no offense when I call her my incubator, but because there is love there, I do love her, but it's not easy to be around her. It just isn't, because she's still stuck in the. She's still got that martyr syndrome going, and I'm not going to get into some of that now. Maybe I will at some point, but man, she was causing drama left and right, and it was all like she was the victim, and I had to smack her down a couple times, not literally, all right, figuratively. I had to kind of put her in her place a little bit, and it hurts to have to do that to your mother, to have to put her in her place, because that's not my heart. That's not. You just want to enjoy your time with people. You don't want to have to be constantly dealing with drama and putting someone in their place. But at the same time, there's a difference in forgiveness and letting someone walk all over you. And I gotta tell you, she's not walking all over me. Those days are gone. If she wants to start something, it's, I'm not gonna put up with it for a second. I'm gonna smack you right back down. I'm not a punching bag. I'm not a doormat. Sorry. Well, actually, not sorry. That you get the expression. So there was some of that, but we also were able to have some good times too with my incubator. But a lot of the stuff that she liked and wanted was also revolved around Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Go figure. And like I went and had lunch with her and one of her local elders, and that she really likes, older guy and his wife, and I actually had a nice conversation with him. And he was military back the end of World War II Korea time frame. Maybe not quite that far back, actually. Anyway, at some point he had been stationed in Germany, and so we got talking about Europe and travel in Germany and some of the sites. And we'd been to some of the same places, which was cool. So we had some conversations there and about military time. And here's a weird thing to me. With how much the Jehovah's Witnesses rail against the military and against governments, every time I've come across a Jehovah's Witness that is a veteran, they are extremely happy to start trading old war stories. And which is normal for veterans, but if you truly believe how evil the military is, if you believe as a Jehovah's Witness that you're serving the devil if you're in the military, which is what Jehovah's Witnesses preach. That's what they tell people. That's what they tell each other, that if you're in the military, that you're serving the devil. Yet they are so happy to talk shop, if you will, to swap war stories with me anytime I've come across a veteran. And it's just strange to me, like that. How do they reconcile those two worlds? How do they reconcile those two trains of thought? It doesn't match up. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, and he started talking to me about taking in accurate knowledge, which was awesome. So he opened Pandora's box on that one, right? And so I said, you know what? You're referencing the 1984 edition of the New World Translation, but you haven't checked that scripture in a long time, I don't think, because in your 2013 edition, they changed it from taking in knowledge to coming to know. And then I went into the Greek word gnosko with him and what gnosko means. And you've heard me talk about it many times because I love the word gnosko. It changed the meaning so much. It adds so many layers to the Bible when you understand what it's actually saying in the original language. And gnosko is one of those words that can change what the entire Bible means, compared to a religious cult that tries to say they're the ones in charge and the only ones that have knowledge, and the only one you have to go through them to have life. But the Bible and Jesus clearly state that it's not anyone but him, and that it's a gnosko, it's an intimate relationship, right? And so you get down to the metaphysics of it, get down to what the nature of it really is in the abstract, and you're gonna get down to the heart of the matter, if you will, and you're going to, it's going to help expand your mind, expand your horizons, and to see what the message really is. And I think that's something that's hard for us to do often as people. But it takes effort. And so anyway, here I am on rabbit trails like I'm famous for, I'm sure. But so I got talking to this older elder about gnosko and about how they changed the wording. He had to look it up. He couldn't believe that it didn't say knowledge anymore. And so then I got to explain to him the whole reason why the 1984 edition and taking in knowledge is 100% the wrong translation, a wrong translation of how to interpret the word gnosko. And So it was funny that he kind of sort of accepted it, but he also kept on telling me to make sure I was taking in accurate knowledge. And I said, well, you just make sure you have an intimate relationship with Christ. And so, but he says, but you have to make sure you do it accurately. And I said, well, it's all about intimate relationship with Christ and no one else, and not through anyone else. And so it was, and I was nice. I didn't. They let me into their house. They fed me a meal, so I was extremely respectful and nice to them. And also, we were able to have some great conversation, and that was one example of it. And it was awesome to see my younger sister and my niece and meet my future brother-in-law. I definitely like his family. They're very blunt and sarcastic, so I got along great with them. I showed up to his parents' place. We're having a family get together on Sunday, and that way I could meet everyone. And they were getting together anyway, but incidentally I was there too, so I was able to meet all of them. And I actually brought them some woodworking stuff too, to his parents, just a little nativity set I'd made. I figured come bearing gifts. If I have stuff, I like to share it, share stuff I like doing. And I showed up, and his dad comes out the back porch there, and something, I don't remember exactly how it was worded, but basically he says, your mother's here, and he hands me a beer. And I said, you know what, me and you are going to get along just fine. So yeah, cool people. And didn't have as much time up there as I wanted to. I also got to see again. The last time I'd seen this man was when I was 12 years old, and that is my stepfather's mother's husband. It wasn't ever really my stepfather's stepfather, because I don't think he was raised with him or anything. But anyway, this guy's a retired military now. His wife, who is my abuser's mother, is a Jehovah's Witness, but this guy isn't. He's actually retired military. He's the first guy that taught me how to shoot. He's one of the only positive male influence I had in my life as a young child. And he's the one that helped me realize how good I was and how much I enjoyed shooting. And I ended up becoming a small arms instructor for Department of Defense and in the military. And that's just part of what I did. But a lot of that I credit to him for helping broaden my horizons too, because there's no Jehovah's Witness that would have been taking me shooting. They weren't going to be teaching me to draw from the hip and all that stuff at the age of 12 and younger, And so it was really awesome to see him again, and we got to do a little bit of shooting. And man, he was more precision and I'm more reflex shooting. And yeah, I need to practice some long range stuff, because I was pretty rusty. I think I'm pretty good still on the reflex shooting, like close quarters stuff, but at distance I'm not what I used to be. But that's to be expected, right? It's like with any skill, it's perishable. So anyway, I have a lot more to tell, in particular on my trip back through. I want to really get into some of what happened on my trip back through, because I stopped and saw my older sister for a couple more days on the way back through, and my nieces. And so I want to get into that, but this video is almost 20 minutes already, and I've got to grab my kids from school in a minute. And so I'll have to make another video in a little while and cover that stuff. End of the day, it's all love though. It was a great trip, hard on me physically, but a great trip. And love above all else, like I've said before. And yeah, live your life that way, right? What is it when you think about God, and if he's what governs you? And that can be any God, right? That can be anything in your life. If God is governance, that would make sense. That, and then you go into John's writings, and you look at what is God. God is love. And then if metaphysically, what is God, right? Like, get down to the heart of the matter. What, in the abstract, what is God? And to me, God would be something that governs you. What's the important thing? Something that is in control of your life, or that you give control of your life to, right? And so if love is where it's at, for me, that's true. Love is where it's at. And so that's why I say, and I truly believe and try to live this out. And I don't always succeed, as I'm human, right? But I would say love above all else, and to show that for people. It doesn't always take the same form. Sometimes love's tougher. Sometimes it's nicer. It runs the entire spectrum, right? Because there's times where I have to be, because my incubator can't hear what I'm saying sometimes, and I'm not even talking Bible stuff. Just, you can't hear me sometimes. I've got to be borderline mean to her, and it's not. It could seem that way to someone on the outside, borderline mean. But if she's not going to hear me, I'm going to try a few different approaches, and then I'm going to let it go if she truly can't hear me, which is, I've done with a lot of things, because she can't hear or see or accept anything outside of her own bubble, her own train of thought, you know? So, there I am rabbit trailing again. So all that to say, love above all else, and all you have a good day.